A typical car audio install kind of looks like this. You have a 4-channel amplifier for your door speakers, and you got a subwoofer amplifiers for your subwoofer. These two components working together will give you that enhanced sound that you want in your car. This is for the lower frequencies, this is for your mid and high frequencies. But what if there was a solution to replace both these into one single unit? Well, today I introduce you to the XDA95RB. This is a 1500 watt peak amplifier by Jensen. But what makes this amplifier so different, and why should I buy this instead of getting these two guys? Well, this is a 5-channel amplifier, and 5-channel amplifiers actually combine these two units into one unit, and that'll be the perk of getting a 5-channel amplifier. Taking a quick scroll over here on Walmart's website, and you can see that the XDA95 is going for around $170. But what's even more surprising to me is the fact that this amplifier has a 4.7 star rating, and out of that 4.7 star rating, 74% are 5-star ratings. And if you guys notice, they don't even have a 1-star or 2-star rating. And it seems that what the people are liking the most about this item is the price, the size of it, and the bass output. So that's just a little something for you guys to take note of in case you're in the market for this. I just wanted to come over here and give it a quick glance so you guys can see what I look at when shopping around for an amplifier. But who is Jensen, and why should I trust them for my car audio? Jensen is a consumer electronics brand with a history that dates back to 1915. Its founder was Peter L. Jensen, the inventor of the first loudspeaker. In 1927, Peter Jensen began producing speakers for both military and radio use, founding the Jensen Radio Manufacturing Company in Chicago. Later, the company began to produce commercial loudspeakers for public use. And if you're wondering about the quality of Jensen, it was in the mid-1940s where Leo Fender developed one of the first guitar amplifiers and chose Jensen speakers for their excellent tone. And yes, we're talking about the Leo Fender, the one that's the inventor and founder of the Fender Musical Instrument Corporation. Fun fact, music icon Jimi Hendrix actually used Fender amplifiers for his electric guitar, which included the Princeton Reverb. And the original Princeton Reverb from the 60s and 70s often featured a Jensen speaker. So there you have it. This is a company that's been around for a very long time, and its reputation speaks for itself. The Jensen XDA95RB amplifier comes packaged in retail packaging. Yes, this is very colorful. This is meant to catch your attention as you walk down the aisle of a store, and to give you a brief overview of what this amplifier has to offer. And as you guys can see, it right here on the packaging, it displays its RGB capabilities. It also gives you a lot of information about this 5-channel amplifier with QR code. I think that's pretty cool that you're able to see all this information right here on the packaging. It even has detailed wiring guide. And of course, in this case, we're going to be using the 4-speaker, 1 subwoofer configuration. Inside the box, you have wiring, you have documentation, and of course the amplifier itself. We're going to start off here by taking a look at the cable for the bass remote. This cable here is a very long cable, and it has the phone style connectors on the end of it. A lot of people in the community will prefer these type of connectors right here because they're more secure. The little tab that you see on the top right there actually ensures that they don't pull out easily like the 3.5 millimeter headphone style connectors do. And be careful, because I actually thought they had forgot to give me the bass remote, but of course it was packaged along the side of the padding right there. So once you get it open, you will see that this is a pretty simple bass control remote right here. Nothing to write home about. It does have bass control written right there on the casing, but that's about it. This is plastic, no voltmeter, no clipping meter, nothing like that. This is obviously something meant to keep down the cost of it, but I must say that the potentiometer on the inside of this feels really, really good. So they didn't skimp out on the internals of it, just everything else seems a bit, budget friendly. Now we're moving on to the amplifier here. You can see that it does come with the white closed cell foam right here. I would prefer to see this than that styrofoam stuff, because styrofoam pretty much gets everywhere if it get damaged during packaging, but this stuff right here pretty much holds up in packaging. Never had an issue with it. The amplifier does come covered in plastic, which protects it from the elements, of course, and yeah, has some silica gel on the inside, and yeah, throw this away and don't eat it. But anyway, one thing that I did not expect is for Jensen to actually put you a wiring schematic right there on the bottom of the amplifier. Sometimes you lose your paperwork, and to have it right there on the amplifier is very convenient. So hey, see a company doing it the right way, give them props for that. Another thing you can see right here on the face of it is this white strip right down the middle of it. That's the RGB lighting. We'll get to that later though. For input output, you do have a series of low-level inputs here. You have the input for the bass remote, you have your gain settings, your high pass filter settings for both front and rear inputs. And you also have crossover selection switches for all of the inputs. Moving around to the power side of things, you will see that there is a protected cover right here. You need to remove that. We will later on using the Allen keys. You have two 40 amp fuses right here. And of course, you have all the outputs over here for the speaker and sub woofers. And in case you're wondering, those are 10 gauge inputs for speaker and sub, and we have what seems to be a 4 to 2 gauge input for power and ground. We do get a little bit of hardware with this amplifier. You will see that you have two different sizes of Allen keys. That is for the speaker and power wires. You guys can also see that we have a bit of risers right here. This is to elevate the amplifier slightly, and I'll be showing you guys later on how to use that as well. I conveniently just put some of this stuff over here in a magnetic tray, and that way you won't lose some of the hardware while configuring your amplifier. You also have some included wood screws for mounting the amplifier. Pretty long wood screws with washers, lock washer and flat washers. Documentation come in two different languages, English and Spanish. I'm just gonna breeze through this. You can always pause the video if you need more details. Just know that this does come with a 1-year limited warranty, and it does have a support card right there so that you can extend that warranty. The XDA come in at 4 pounds, 4.5 ounces. That's 4 1/4 pounds. So it's a very lightweight amplifier. The XDA95 has a total length, a top length of around 10 inches. And it has a width of about 5 1/4 inches. And it has a thickness of around 2 inches or so. In terms of its mounting flanges, you're talking around 11 inches, right on the money. Using the larger of the Allen keys, we're going to be removing that security tab that came installed within the power inputs. And this is how you would do that. I think this is a pretty neat feature to have, actually. I don't think I've ever had an amp that came with these things protected, but these are protruding quite a bit, so I can see in shipping that getting damaged or bumped around a little bit. So yeah, kudos for them for protecting these. And as you guys can see, they got a bit of a depth to them, and the grub screws on the inside of the terminal actually angles inward. To me, that'll be a perk because it actually forces the wire into a little bit deeper into the input than, you know, versus one that just screws straight downward. So I think that's a pretty good feature to have as well. Using the smaller Allen key, you can see that that fit the remote wire input pretty cool right here. And it only makes sense to make the rest of the inputs, the speaker inputs, to fit that same Allen key. So you have two different size Allen keys in order to get this job done. I know it, some of you are probably saying, duh, but you'll be surprised at what some manufacturers do with these grub screws. All right, so right now we're gonna focus on the little risers that came with the amplifier. I use these to actually show you that you can use these to elevate the amplifier. Just like that. So that'll give you about, I wanna say about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of lift underneath the amplifier. See, if it sit flat like this, it can actually build heat up depending on what your mounting surface is. Maybe you got a slightly contoured surface that you would need these in order to do so. So if you have a surface such as that, or you just want to promote more airflow underneath the amplifier, you have that option. Okay, so as you guys can tell, the 4-channel amplifier for my doors are gone, and the subwoofer amplifier also is gone. The only thing that remains up here is my DSP, all right, which we're not going to be using this in this video, okay? But I didn't want to take it off the board because this is my test board, and I didn't feel like putting that thing back up later on. But just know that we're not going to be using the DSP for this setup. Now, the next phase of this is wiring. You have to wire your amplifier. And after looking at this for a bit, I see that these power inputs for ground and positive look like they're 4-gauge wire, which is pretty good. If you got an amplifier that can peak at 1500 watts, you definitely want to make sure that you got an adequate amount of wire that can go in here. And 4-gauge is pretty, it's enough for this setup, okay? And it looked like the speaker terminals right here, including the sub out terminal right here, is all 10-gauge from the looks of it. I first thought it was 12-gauge, but that's bigger than 12-gauge. And they all use the same grub screw, which is fine. Even the remote wire use the same size. So those 2 Allen keys that they gave us, it's gonna fit this right here pretty good. All right, so what type of wiring did I go for? I went with this by New Concepts. I bought this roll of 100-foot 10-gauge quite a while ago, and this thing has been supplying me through about 3 or 4 builds now. And this is what it looks like. This is oxygen-free copper, and it's pretty good stuff. As you guys can see off in there, that's copper wire. And it's by a company called New Concepts. In case you guys want to go check it out, pause the video, get the barcode, look at it for yourself, or you can just go into the description of the video and I'll have it for you there. But what I'm going to be using this for is speaker wire. Okay? To make things simpler, what I'm also going to be doing is using these little terminals right here. These are like miniature bus bars. If you guys see up here, I also have one connected to the DSP high level inputs, meaning that this would be this would be positive and negative for my left rear, positive and negative for my right rear. So by connecting all of my speaker inputs, high level inputs from here to this little terminal right here, that means that whatever I connect to this test rig, whether that be a radio, I can already have my high level inputs available and connecting directly to my DSP. Same thing goes for the constant, remote, ground, and power wire to the DSP. That is what those are for. In case you guys are like, what are those things on the board over there? Those things are very convenient. It saves time when you're talking about wiring. The one I'm going to be using is the one that's already up here. So I have 3 negatives on tap, okay, and I have 3 positives on tap. And all I have to do is take one positive wire connected here, and take another positive and negative and connected there, and I have these 3 available for whatever I want to do. And just in case you guys are wondering, and this is rated at 600 volts at 25 amps. And the bigger ones, this is 600 volts as well, and this is 12P, or you can connect 12 cells. They're also really good for creating balance leads for lithium battery banks. To power this entire setup, we're going to be using a 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour lithium battery by Power Queen. This is one of their premium Group 24s, 1,280 watt hours. If you guys are looking for a battery such as this is an auxiliary battery. Remember, auxiliary battery is not a starting battery. Though I know some people have used it for that, they tell you not to do that. So I'm using it as an auxiliary power source for this setup. So if you guys are looking for this, here's the part number right here. And of course, you can always go to the website and check them out as well. Keeping everything charged up, I'm going to be using this PM3120LK by PowerMax. This serves as our alternator would serve in a vehicle application. This has smart technology on the inside of it, and I'm right now running it in a 3-stage mode. Basically, it only kicks on when it sees need for the battery to be charged. If the battery is showing full charge, it automatically turns itself off. It has a fan and everything on the inside of it, and it is capable of 120 amps output. On top of my lithium battery, I have these terminals. These terminals have 2 spots available for negative and positive, and I'm going to be using them to run some of that wire to that distribution block. On the other side of those terminals, you see that it has 2 negatives coming out, and two negatives coming out, and 2 positives coming out. One of these positives is going to the charger, as is one of the negatives, and the additional negative and positive comes above. This is what I'm going to be inserting into the amplifier. This is 4-gauge Colossus Flex wire, also by New Concepts. Hey, if you guys are doing wiring like this, here's a little pro tip, right? You see how these wires I just cut are different lengths? You see this? And the reason being is because of the way that I'm going to connect them. See where I'm going with this? So you just want to go ahead and cut them like this so you won't have one wire sticking out too far or bunched up and looking weird. This will look like one seamless wire once I'm finished with it, even though it's going to be, you know, what it is. You'll see. And this is what I'm talking about. Now that they're both in here, I can just kind of tuck them, put a couple staples in there, and that'll look a lot more cleaner than it would have been if this wire was the same length as this one, because it would have been bunched out. Now all I got to do is connect this to the battery. but that'll come later. No power right now until everything connects. In case you guys are wondering how deep these terminals are, because I'm looking at them, they look like they got a little bit of depth to them. So this is about an inch worth of copper sticking out. It's about an inch. I'm gonna try to stick one in here, see how far it goes in. This is one for the sub, but I think they're all the same. And I would say it's about ½ inch deep. Correction, I was actually wrong. I pushed it in a little bit more, and yeah, it looked like we got pretty much a full inch or more that can fit off into those holes. So I may be okay. All right, so I just ran into something that you guys may want to be aware of. Remember how those two wires are different lengths? It looks like we're gonna have to do the same thing here with the speaker terminals as well, because if I'm going in here, and if I try to tighten this down, I'm gonna just do it and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, now that I have them both in there, this is what I'm talking about. Like, as long as if your end result is gonna result with this wire sticking straight out like this, then what I'm about to say isn't going to be an issue for you. But I know that mine are going to terminate on a curve. And you see what's going on here? You see that, like, this wire is curving, it's bunching up like that. I don't like that. It's the OCD in me. I mean, this may not bother some people, but it's really messing with me that this wire is like that. And the reason is because these distances are different. So you have to compensate for that minute difference in the length of these wires as well. So you have to stagger the length of them. And just in case you're wondering, it's the negative wire that has to be a little bit shorter. And that's what it looks like now. I removed about ½ inch of material. So that wire is about ½ inch shorter than the other one. And I'm going to connect them again and see what it looks like. And now you don't have that bunching that you had at first. You see that? You don't have much of the bunching like you did at first. At first the wire was like all crazy like, and now it's, you know, it's pretty cool now. I can deal with that because I know this is what I'm going for. I'm going to do this. All right, so here we go. We have all of them connected, and yeah, that's a lot of wire. It's coming out of there. This is going to have to be tidied up in some way. Next up, we're going to be moving on to the power wire. Of course, that is the 4-gauge wire, but I may hold off on this right here and just get the trigger wire or the remote wire connected for now, so that we can move on to connecting all the RCAs. I don't want to put power through this until everything is connected, so that when the capacitors and everything charge up, you know, everything will be at the ready and those electrons will flow where they need to go. And as a pro tip, grab some masking tape or something similar and just make sure you get all your wires labeled. If not, you'll just have a mess, especially if you use wires such as I did. They all look the same. So a little bit of masking tape and a Sharpie goes a long way. All right, so let's focus our attention right now on the RCA inputs. These inputs right here are going to dictate what comes out of the other end, which is our outputs. But first we need to get some RCAs in order to connect everything up. In this case, we're gonna need 2, 4, and 6 for the front, the rear, and the sub. So let's grab some RCAs and we'll get right back to this. All right, so to make things easier, I have some color-coded RCAs right here. This is 4 of them, and I'm going to be using these for my door speakers. We have orange, green, yellow, and red. And let me make certain that these are the ways that, because they come in this braid. I shouldn't call this a braid. They call it a ribbon. I guess this would be called a ribbon. So we have red and blue are next to each other. Green and orange are next to each other. So I'm going to be using these as front, and I'm going to be using these as rear. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. The reason why this is important to keeping up with these colors is because we got to mimic this on the other end when we connect to our source. And in this case, our source is going to be the head unit. This is the Toto F7. It's a pretty good head unit, and it has RCA outputs on the rear for all 6 of these inputs. So let's take a quick look at the back of the Toto, and then we'll get back to this right here. Okay, so this is the rear of the Toto F7. A lot of car aftermarket stereos are going to look like this. Some of them do not have this many options, but just know that the Toto F7 have extra things such as camera input or video input, video output, as well as microphone inputs and outputs. But what we're going to focus on is this section over here. So as you can tell, it has front left, front right, rear left, rear right. And right there, you can see that it has a sub output. And we're going to be using all of these outputs to connect to the ones here. So give me a moment and we'll be right back at you. I noticed you guys did notice that this radio only has one sub out and that this amplifier has 2 sub inputs, left and right. In this case, you would need an additional wire called a splitter. And what the splitter would do is take this one female output, you would connect a male, like this Amazon Basic one, and on the other end of this, it would be 2 females. So this is what that would look like. These 2 are connected, and that sub channel would go right here. Make certain that you double check your color schematics here and make certain that whatever you have here for rear left is the same rear left over here. Otherwise, you'll have your front stage playing out of your rear speakers, and your rear speakers playing, it'll just be all over the place. You don't want that. All right, so now comes the time that everyone, now comes the part of the install that even us veterans get a little bit nervous by, and that's installing the power wire. The reason being is because when you first connect the power wire to your amplifier for the very first time, it's going to create a small spark. Sometimes it's a big spark, okay, and sometimes it's not a spark at all, but it can be a very loud popping noise followed by a little bit of charring smell of metal, and it can be very, very intimidating to a new installer. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys a fair warning that before you see this, that everything is fine. As long as this thing don't internally start smoking, you'll be okay. What's going on is that internally on the inside of this, you have components on the board called capacitors. And capacitors are kind of like super batteries, but they're not batteries. The material that they're made out of can receive and discharge electrons very, very quickly. So when you connect both positive and negative for the first time, those electrons are going to flow into those capacitors so fast that you're visually going to be able to see it. So just, don't freak out if you hear a pop or you see a spark. It's normal. I'm going to first connect the power or the positive cable. That's going to be the first cable. And I'm going to try to get it in here without fraying any of these. Just give it a little, I'm trying to get this on camera. A little bit of a twist. It's blinking. It says red protect. I don't know why it's flashing. But anyway, I'm going to keep going with this. It may be giving a warning that the negative is disconnected. So that's good that it has an indicator on here. It just doesn't say what it's indicating as it flashed. I'll let you guys get a look at that. It says blue is powered on, red mean that it's protected. So this one here is actually flashing, and I'm guessing that because it's not connected to ground. Kind of cool that it can sense that without a ground being there. Where is it getting its power from? And here's the negative. This is the negative, and this is where you may see your spark at right here. So we're just gonna touch it to the, let's get a close-up of this. I know you guys want to see it in case it happens. It may not happen, but just in case, I want you guys to get a good look at it. And I'm going to turn one of my lights off. All right, here we go. See what it's going to do. There you go. You seen that? And now we got a blue light. And the reason we have a blue light is because now everything's connected properly. Okay? That was a big spark. This thing must got some quality capacitors on the inside. But let me go ahead and get everything connected, and then I'll get back with you. It actually got a partial little weld there. I had to pull it off. I pulled it off. It kind of was stuck on there. I just let you know how strong and dangerous this can be if you're not careful. But in this case, we were careful. And if you follow these steps, you should be okay. So now let's get it back connected. And hopefully that'll be the last of the sparks that we need. Right now it's actually in protect mode. So let's go ahead and get everything protected, and hopefully nothing's damaged inside. There's another spark. Ooh, some hungry capacitors. Capacitors are hungry on this Jensen. I'll let you know they work. There you go. Now we got blue. That's what we're looking for. Good old blue. Alright, so I had to take a step back because I couldn't get all this in one shot. But I wanted you guys to come up here and see that the test bench have changed quite a bit. We now have speakers. That's right. Speakers. Speakers, and a subwoofer. So this is going to be serving as my rear stage. The two smaller guys up top. And up front, these are going to be my front stage. Okay, so just kind of giving you guys a lay of the land, and then you see what is going on here. This is going to be my subwoofer channel, and if you guys are wondering about the subwoofer that's installed right here, this is the B2 Audio Rampage 8. Yeah, shout out to Big Jeff, man, over at BigJeff.com. Big Jeff actually hooks me up with some pretty good discounts, man, on some of this stuff that you see here on the channel, especially anything B2 related, since he's pretty much the go-to here in the US for B2 Audio USA. So once again, shout out to Big Jeff for showing the love. What we got to do here now is get the bass knob connected. As you guys remember, this did come with a bass knob. And if you guys are wondering about the quality of this, the housing is all plastic. It's very, very lightweight plastic. Very small one. It doesn't have, you know, like voltmeters or nothing like that. It doesn't have any smart technology in it. But what I can say is that the potentiometer that they use in it is pretty good. It's one of those that don't just continuously turn. I hate those continuous turn ones. This one here actually has a good bit of resistance to it, and it clicks. You can hear it clicking. But we have these phone style connectors, and we're going to get this connected, and then we're going to get everything powered up. I just kind of wanted to not skip so much of, you know, putting the speakers and stuff out here without bringing you guys in. All right, so now it's time for the moment of truth. We got the subwoofer connected, bass remote connected. Let me turn this thing down. It's okay, it's down. Door speakers connected, and now we're going to hit the switch. Now, oh, there we go. I was going to say, hey, what's going on here? All right, so, whoa. Ah, that thing had music playing. So you guys already know I've been playing around with it. You see the USB stick. I have been playing something through it, but not with the sub. I wanted to get that on camera with you guys. Let's turn one of these lights off. Let's check something out. Turn this light off. Of course, I have my LEDs up here, but check this out. Yeah, we got illumination. There's a strip right here that actually do RGB. Later on, we're going to play with that as well. But right now, we want to get some sounds pumping. So let's turn one of these lights back on. There we go. And what we're going to do is get some sounds pumping through it just to let you guys hear it. It sounds good.
And I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Big flesh, my swole up, double cup and I'm pulled up.
All right, man, hey, that looks pretty good. I do have the bass knob, and there's another thing I want to point out to you guys. And if you give this a long press, it brings up your 10-band EQ. I think that's 12. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a 12-band EQ on here. Just for sake of video, we're going to leave this on a flat response. Another thing I want to show you guys is this. This is where you do all your balancing and your fading from front to rear. You can either do it by clicking this, or you can do it by just dragging and scrolling this. But I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is your subwoofer output. It's defaulted by 17, but I think it can go all the way up to like 34. So it's defaulted at 50%. But I do want to let you guys see the fading and whatnot that goes on with this. I think this is pretty cool to be able to test whether or not you set your system up correctly, right? Because we said these are going to be our rear stage. These are going to be our rear stage, and the ones up here, the Totos 6.5s, are going to be our front stage. So let's just give it a play and see if we did that correctly.
Hating like, hold up, what's the problem? I'm pulled up. Big flex, my swole up. Hard body, they fold up. Shawty say I done glowed up. Double text on my phone up. Fuck with your boy, I'm the man of the year. I'm not a fan of your peers. Serve him a fade, I'ma hand him the shears. He not the man of your peers. Heart of a lion, I'm trampling fears. I love the man in the mirror. Cry me a river to stand in the tears. You better stand in the clear. I'm going crazy, niggas fugazi. How would they ever go fuck with a kid? Put it on, baby, it do not faze me. Boy, I do not give a fuck what you did. Eating that kitty, she stuck in my rib. How can I trust him? He fuck with the peas. Bro got a Glock and a couple of C's. He think about splitting a couple of wigs. Shotty my DNA all real, nigga. Sweatsuit all heel figure. And I ain't even got to deal with you. If I ain't never split a bill with you. I got Hennessy and horchata. Baby girl wearing nada. Ass growing from a cider. Bad robe in his Prada. Fiji water by the cold glass. Granddaddy by the Ziploc. Flex season, I'm roll running. I'm staying all on my tip top. Young man with an old mind, so I ain't worried about slight shit. I be up till sunrise. I'm staying out on my night shift. I got a bottle of bourbon, a bundle of honeys. I'm jiggy, I'm flexing a bit. Figured I hit it and quit it. I'm busy, I ain't got the minutes for texting a bitch. Came from the gutter with me and my brother. I'm moving my mother right out of the city. Bitch, I'm a star and they know I go hard, so I'm kissing them babies and selling them titties. Gold blinging like Chingo, rock star like Ringo. Checks coming in back to back, I'ma line them up like bingo. Oh, I think that they like me. They be all on my wood tip. Now the stain on my white tee. I'm popping all of this good shit. Big flex, my swole up. Double cup and I'm pulled up. Niggas hating like hold up.
So, as you guys can tell, that one unit is playing everything by itself. I like this. I like to have a single setup solution, less wiring, less troubleshooting, less gain settings, all done in one unit. I think this is amazing, but I know there's some things about the amplifier we still haven't covered, so let's jump off into that and see what the RGB is all about. All right, so right here in the manual, they give you this QR code to scan in order to download the app. So let's get that going. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Google Lens, and there we go. Let's see where this takes us to. Takes you right to the app. So we hit install. That was quick. And hit open. And this is what the app looked like. Whoa, use this app while driving can be dangerous. We're not gonna worry about that. We're not driving. All right, so let's go through all this and then we'll come back. All right, it's supposed to be looking for a device right now. It says disconnected. Now in the manual, it tells you to press the Bluetooth button. And that's what we did. We pressed the Bluetooth button. Now we're in the Bluetooth menu and it has a scan button down here. We're gonna scan. All right, I've turned off one of my lights over here so you guys can actually see it illuminate a little bit. Let's turn both the lights off. I think it'll be best. There we go. Now you can tell that it actually has a light on it, right? So we have a scan button here. We're gonna scan and we're gonna see what this thing says. Please wait. It is searching. It could say I am searching. It says it, and it's referencing itself in third party. All right, so it did find something. It found the Jensen 95, and that's what it says. I'm gonna click that. Whoa, what that is? And there we are. You see that? The light is on. LED animation is off. Multicolor also is off. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me like it is on. You see it? Let's play around with it. Oh, that's the light, but it's not animating. So let's click this and see what animating to do. I don't see it animating. Is it doing anything? Let me turn my other LED bars off. Hold on. Okay, so right now we have that thing dead center, and that light on the amplifier looks like it's white, and that's what it's supposed to be. So if we move it over here to red, it turns red. It's a very subtle red to me. Maybe because it's not like pitch dark, but I'm gonna select the circle. Then look, whoa, now that's red. Yeah, that was red. And it's like, oh, I think the animation makes it like breathe, like it's, let me turn it off. And maybe now it's a solid red. Yeah, that's a solid red. When you turn, okay, I'm gonna say multicolor. Hey, my big fingers. There it is. It's going yellow, green. You see it? That's pretty cool, actually. I never got off into the LED stuff, the RGB stuff. I never got off into it, but I can see why people like it. Like, it's red, it's kind of flipping colors. But if you have an enclosure that, you know, have a plexiglass window or something like that, and it flips colors such as this thing is doing, then this would be a great matchup. I can say that much. So I can appreciate this. Ingenuity, right? Making car audio even more fun. So there you go, guys. Jensen, you know, making an attempt into this market where, you know, a lot of people are doing this. So you got a 5-channel amplifier, you know, pretty much one to rule all, one some would say. And yeah, you got RGB that goes along with that, with the mobile application. Ease of use, I mean, just a very simple application that you can color match your system, maybe to your vehicle's interior or some existing LED lights that you have in the environment. I think it's a plus. I like it. Thanks for visiting the channel to help you simplify car audio. It's the Budget Basshead, and I'm out.